Can you hear me now? No, I cannot. Hmm. Hmm. Can you hear me? Hmm. I don't know. Hmm.
No, freshmen can't get in. Really? Yeah, they just started doing sophomores. Gosh, I remember did, but then she was at the junior high. Yeah, I'm in Nashville Junior Honor Society. Oh, okay. But not just in school. Oh, okay. Just go do it sophomore. Wow. Yep. Oh, that must be mom. All right, honey. Have a great night. You too. Bye. Bye. Hey, Lydia. How are ya? Well, I'm good. Doug's not. And his projection is gonna be a week from tomorrow. Hoping that, Judith would
Wow. Hmm. Sorry.
I but he got all this stuff. But
local governments competitively compete for discretionary grants and do so confidently. And that's something that's been missing. And so we want to be able to provide as much support as we can to those local governments. So very excited about that. A little over $70 million that's coming to the department that we were not expecting. So good for us. It plugs the hole on some of the inflation we're seeing and allows us to deliver our program as we thought we could. So we've got a couple other legislative things that have been moving forward. Most notably is something that needs to be on the commission's radar is LB 1335. This is a bill that came together rather late in the legislative session. It's being chaired and being pushed forward by Senator Mosier, and we very much appreciate that. Him working with the department and working with Game and Game, or Nebraska Non-Game Conservation Act, to make sure that when we go out to do a transportation project that affects the public right away, that we're able to do so efficiently and that we're not over permitting ourselves. And so as of right now, if we go out and we're on state highways, we have to abide by NESCA, which is actually more strict than federal law when it comes to how we deal with endangered and threatened species. So this helps us there. It also makes sure that we sustain our commitment to the environment. And so this is a healthy compromise between the DOT and Game and Parks, supported by the governor and supported by the legislature. So it came out with no opposition on first round in the legislature, and it came out of committee with no opposition. So we're very hopeful that we can continue to see that as a good move forward to select file and final reading, and see that the legislature sees the impact that it'll have on the state. We're excited about it. I do want to touch on weddings. Just in the months between February and March, we advertised 43 projects and we were able to award 40 of them. So really, if you look at the healthiness, since we don't have a letting in January, the healthiness of what we see so far for construction, we're seeing bids, we're seeing competition, we're being able to award projects. We feel like we're getting good prices and we're moving forward. We're in a good place. That represents 192.9 million contractual value. And just for, if you ever need a little anecdote, over 873 tons of asphalt. So there's work going out to contractors, and we're going to keep them busy to be able to deliver the projects. So good news there. It's about this time in the year where we start talking about our program and more than just hypotheticals. With the federal appropriations piece coming through, with the ARPA piece coming together, we're still kind of pushing those things together to understand what they mean for the program. So by the end of April, we should be able to tell each one of the commissioners what your district is getting for your program. Your district engineer can brief you as how that translates to projects. So what you can expect, and then we can go out and we'll have time to talk with your local communities before it's published in the July timeframe. So really what you can expect is the May to June timeframe, working with that district engineer. If you have questions on projects, really what the program's going to look like. And again, this is going to be the program kicking off for 2025. And so really happy to work with our new commissioners and what that looks like. Some of them are more seasoned commissioners. If you have any questions or if you have any advice, please share that. We do want to get back to where we are doing an event with the governor and highlighting our program and highlighting some of the projects that come out of that program as a way to make sure that all of our taxpayers understand where their dollars are going. We want to make sure that the projects that we're getting in, people understand the importance of them and how they were selected. And so our district engineers will be in touch with our communication staff on those as well, as we have opportunities for the 2024 program, for groundbreakings, and for 2025 for the program book announcement. So look forward to having you involved in those. I won't get into projects. I'll let Kevin touch on that since we do have a program hearing today. But the last thing I want to touch on is an event that we did last year and again just this year. Every year in some shape or fashion, we've done a tribal transportation conference over the last 20 years. The last 2 years, we've been lucky enough to have the governor be a part of it. And when it comes to relations with our tribal governments, this is a big deal for them to be able to make sure that they have an opportunity and audience with the governor as well as transportation staff. They can come to one location and speak to the governor as an executive and tell them what their needs are, but also be able to speak to myself and all of our staff and to Kevin about how, okay, conceptually, here's what our need is. Now, how do we make this a reality all the way down? And I feel it's very needed to be able to support the communities in that way. And so that was on Tuesday, and we had great attendance. And I think it's starting to really set in that this is something that we do want to do and we are committed to. And so we're seeing more participation and look forward to doing that again next year. I'd love to have anyone there that would like to come next year as we start to look at how best we can expand it or just change it up to get more participation. So look forward to your involvement there. I think that will conclude my remarks. I'll close with a little bit about April's safety or work zone safety. Where do you want after we're done, if that's okay with you, Commissioner?
Sure, that'd be fine. Thank you, Vicki. A lot of things going on, I know, in Lincoln this time of the year. The next item on the agenda is the District 3 program hearing. And Dave, since this is your district, I'll let you go ahead and introduce Kevin, and if you want to say a few words to your people out here.
Sure. Thank you, everyone, for coming. For those of you that aren't aware, we have meetings both in Lincoln and then we have meetings in the districts. This happens to be for the meeting that's held in District 3, which includes counties from South Sioux City to Columbus, Albion, over West Point, and then up to Knox County. So it consists of primarily northeast Nebraska. We appreciate you attending. We also want you to take the opportunity, if you have comments, suggestions, or questions, this is the time that you have before the director and the commissioners. And so I would encourage you to take advantage of the opportunity and ask the questions or make the comments. And with that, I would introduce Kevin Damagawa. Kevin is the District 3 engineer, and he is the person within the district that handles the road projects. Kevin?
This was again. Yeah, now it works. Great. Thank you. I am Kevin Damagawa, or your District 3 engineer for Northeast Nebraska. And I'd like to introduce some of the my staff that I brought with me tonight. We've got Matt Samuelson is our project delivery engineer. He takes our project from concept to letting. And then we've got Rob Davis, our district construction engineer. He takes over when Matt's done, takes that from letting through construction, oversees our construction program, and oversees our contractors taking care of the projects. And then we've got Tim Koenig, and it's Koenig. He is our district operations and maintenance manager. He takes care of the day-to-day operations of our district and our highways, and then oversees our maintenance folks that take care of snow removal and pavement asset preservation. Welcome to our first evening Highway Commission meeting. We did change this up a little this year, hosting an outstate meeting in the evening with hopes of making it easier for the public to attend. And it does look like we did have a nice turnout, so thank you. And I'm assuming that we'll probably continue this in the future. I'd like to cover some of the accomplishments we have made since we last met, what we are working on right now, and what we have planned for the future. Some of the larger projects that we have built are on Highway 81 from 98 up to Highway 20. It was a resurfacing project that had a bridge replacement project wrapped inside of it. Two different contracts, quite a bit of coordination on that one. And then we also resurfaced Highway 20 from 81 to just west of Belden. Through the corporate limits of Randolph, new 9-inch concrete pavement was poured, and we were able to accomplish this by reducing traffic to one lane and using traffic signals. Another portion of Highway 20 from north of Dixon to south of Martinsburg was done, as well as Highway 9 from through Martinsburg up to Highway 12. Now this is getting us closer to resurfacing Highway 20 from 81 to Jackson. That has been a issue in a previous meeting, so I'm glad to report that we're getting one step closer to that with just a small piece near Laurel that needs to get that finished up. That will be resurfaced in a couple of years. Now, last year we started work on 23rd Street in Columbus. This is scheduled to be a 3-year project, so the work is ongoing. During construction, our 4-lane highway is reduced to 2 lanes, which does cause congestion, but working with the City of Columbus, local alternate routes were established and signed to help relieve some of the pressure. Olson Construction got a good jump on the project and completed the east portion last year. And here is a snapshot of one part of the completed work. They have started their next segment, which runs from 25th Street to 16th Street, which should be open again to traffic this winter. The remaining 6 blocks or so to be completed next year. The expressway project on 275 north and south of West Point has started back up with asphalt work to be completed on existing lanes south of West Point. Last fall, 4-lane section north of town is open with completion of the south portion anticipated this summer. We've got 2 additional projects south of the District 3 border and District 2 that are underway also, and those are anticipated to be completed this fall. We'll be busy in the Thurston County area with another portion of Highway 77 from Lyons to Walt Hill being let this spring. Highway 9 from Pender to Emerson, having already been let and close by in County. We will be working on Highway 16 from Pender to Bancroft. This project requires a detour to be able to replace 2 bridges. It is scheduled to start this summer, but won't be completed until next fall, so not to have a detour over the winter. Highway 77 from 94 to Winnebago, that started last year with the detouring the highway. 2 large and deep box culverts needed to be replaced. And as you can see in the picture, it wasn't feasible to do it under traffic. Traffic was returned to Highway 77 last fall, and the remaining work will be completed throughout this summer. In our 1-year plan, we have a number of projects scheduled throughout the district. Highway 81 from Madison North, and a piece of 13th Street in Norfolk will be resurfaced. Highway 22 from the county line to Highway 81 will be resurfaced, as well as 2 bridge replacements. Work in the town of Monroe will include some geometric improvements to alleviate problems with truck turning at 2 different intersections. Work is scheduled to begin on the bridge replacement. Want to make sure I don't hit Mr. Wolford by accident with laser flare. Work is scheduled to begin on bridge replacement over the Loop River on the south edge of Columbus as early as this fall. The existing truss bridge will be replaced with a concrete bridge including a multi-use path for future expansion of the trail system in the Columbus area. Section 106 mitigation includes the representation of the bridge being built in Piney Park adjacent to the project. We will start our next portion of the expressway system as soon as spring of 2025. Design is planned to be completed this fall with right-of-way acquisition ongoing as well as utility outreach. We will build the new eastbound lanes on the south side of the existing highway from near the Highway 57 junction to just east of the Highway 15 junction that leads to Wayne. The existing lanes will be rehabbed with a mill and overlay. Public hearing gathered some good feedback, and we made some design modifications from that. Planning and design are active on the remaining portions, with the next section from Highway 15 to Wisner project starting as soon as the following year. Beamer to West Point will begin in that same time frame, with the last piece from Wisner to Beamer to finish up the remaining expressway. The goal is to be complete in 2029. This is an aggressive schedule, but we've got a good team working on it right now, and I think that it's doable with what we have. Other major projects in planning, Library East and West project, work continues on the draft EIS, and we're getting much closer to a permittable design. Other corridors will be continuing work on. We'll be finishing Highway 20 from 81 all the way to South Sioux City, and then going west from 81 out to the district line. Also along the Highway 81 corridor, we've got preservation projects scheduled throughout that corridor. The replacement of the Decatur Bridge is in its initial stages. This is a shared bridge with Iowa and with Nebraska being the lead state. Citizens Advisory Group was formed with stakeholders in the area. The second meeting, as well as public information meetings, are scheduled to finalize preferred location and impacts to the citizens in the area. To wrap up my presentation, I'd like to share a few items of interest. This last winter, we were hit with a storm that we haven't seen in at least 10 years. We battled closed roads for over a week, with blizzard conditions keeping us from making much progress to begin with. We reached out for help from the western part of the state and also pulled in resources from South Dakota. Pictures of what we were dealing with, and they're always kind of interesting to see. So, and going along with the snow theme, this is the third year we have sponsored a name snowplow contest. Elementary students from across the state are asked to submit names. This is a great tool to get kids involved and then also aware of what we do. The two winners from District 3 came from Battle Creek with Scoop, there it is, and from Richland with Snow Warrior. This year, our communications team added to this with highlighting those operators that run these same plows. They pushed this out via social media and was quite a hit, especially during that blizzard. It gave our folks some much deserved recognition and then also passed safety messages on from drivers. And one last thing I wanted to bring up was our new facility in Columbus. We will house both our maintenance and construction forces at the new building, as well as co-locating with local state patrol troopers and their sergeant. Work is wrapping up, and we should be able to move in later this spring. I think it does look like a nice addition to the area. There will be time for questions during open session, so for now, I'll turn it back over to Shannon Ankeny, our communications director.
Thank you, Kevin. It's the snowplow, name snowplow campaign is always really popular. We have last year we had over 700 submissions from all corners of the state, and this year we had almost double the amount of submissions from kids around the state. So it's really fun to get someone interested and involved in just what's going on their roads. And then also another fun thing that I'll add to Kevin's mention of the snow plows is in our 511 system, and where you can track your plows. We're working on, sometimes they come up and sometimes they don't, but you can find your plow. So if you're a kid in one of those elementary schools, you can go find the plow of your school named and track it. And it's kind of like Pac-Man for those who are, that's what I say. It's pretty fun to watch. So my name is Shannon Ankeny. I'm the Director of Communications and Public Policy for NDOT, as well as the Secretary of the State Highway Commission. And one of the things that we work really hard on every day, every job site is promoting safety. Back in November, we had done a big push for November was Crash Responders Safety Month, where we focused on all of the different individuals and organizations and roles that are out on the roads responding to crashes. They're not just NDOT people. A lot of them are volunteers. A lot of them are at city level, county level. And the month of April, we're taking to focus on work zone safety awareness month, because work zones and crash sites are obviously the two most obvious places that people are at highest risk for injury or even death. So the intent behind our campaign is to compel motorists to be extra aware and cautious of the people who are working in and around work zones, so that we can all work together to keep those people safe. So we want to get the message out that safe driving is everyone's job, not just enforcement's job, not just DOT's job, it's everyone's job. So throughout the month, we're going to have quite a few things going on. And I keep looking over to the folks in the room too, because there's some really great things in here that communities can take and run with during this month as well. So starting on Monday, we're going to be launching a Friday safety message submission process where the public can submit their ideas for those digital signs on the interstates that display the messages about closures or warning you of a crash ahead. Sometimes we get kind of witty, and that seems to catch people's attention. So we'll be opening that up to the public for the first time in a couple of years. It'll be open all month, and it'll close on April 30th to submit ideas for those Friday safety messages. Then we're also going to be pushing content on all of NDOT's social media accounts as well to promote different aspects of safe driving in the work zone. And of course, there's construction happening all month and into May and June and July until pretty much it snows. So we really just want to kick it off because April is when really construction gets going. So the big thing you're going to see is our regular safety message is called Buckle Up, Phone Down. Well, during Work Zone Safety Awareness Month and Work Zone Safety Awareness Week is Slow Down, Phone Down. So this is one of the things that we hear all the time from our employees who are out at work sites, that just how fast people are coming through a work zone, as well as they're distracted when they're doing that. So slow down, phone down. And nationally, Work Zone Safety Awareness Week is the week of April 15th. So we are going to align with that as well, just to support all of our safety partners across the state, as well as across the country. We're working with Governor Pellin to proclaim this week as Work Zone Safety Awareness Week, and we will also be pairing that with an event outside the NDOT headquarters in Lincoln. And then on April 17th, it's a Wednesday. This is National Go Orange Day, to bring awareness to people, the people who are in a work zone. So all of NDOT's 1,300 some employees who work on some kind of job site will be wearing a high-vis bright orange shirt that says "slow down" on the back, really big. It will not take the place, of course, of other PPE that has reflective striping on it, but it's something that happens all over the country just to bring awareness. So if you feel compelled, wear some orange on April 17th. And we are also partnering with AGC to work with all of their contractors and their members to celebrate and acknowledge Go Orange Day, as well as Work Safety Awareness Week too.
And then we're gonna be pushing slow down, phone down on all of our social media channels. Give you a little preview of the shirts. And then we have the final culmination to the entire month is Speed Awareness Week. So speeding is a huge problem. We know this. It's something that in our state is one of the biggest things that everybody has control over is how fast you drive. And so on the 22nd, we are going to be actually working with all of our safety partners all over the state. We have a digital kit to give them for them to share slow down messaging on their social media channels. So it's not necessarily going to be branded NDOT's message. All we have on there is slow down, phone down. So if you are a hospital, if you are a traffic incident management group, a tow group, State Patrol, all of our partners are going to be sharing this message, and the goal is to have that unified presentation to the public. So just kind of using some really direct messaging. There's no need for speed, cruise control, not rush control. To take over that entire week. We did this 2 years ago as a pilot in just the metro area, Council Bluffs area, and it went over really, really well. So we wanted to take over the entire state. And then to culminate with an event, we have a groundbreaking event in District 1, a really big project that's getting ready to start construction is our I-80 6-lane expansion. So we have details that we're still working out on this, but this is a really big deal. This has been years in the making. And so wanted to bring awareness to construction zones with a new project. We all kind of get construction blindness. I feel like, you see it, you don't really need to drive through it. So with that, I just wanted to provide some information here for our commissioners, as well as anybody in attendance, if you would like to reach out for more information on how to do Work Zone Safety Awareness Week or month in your community. And I'm happy to take any questions. Okay.
Information there. A lot of nice work, Shannon. Traveling up and down the interstate as much as I do, and probably as much as the other commissioners do. We always see people speeding. We always see people with their phones up instead of down. So it's great to create some awareness of that and have a drive here this spring as we enter into the heavier construction and traffic season. So thank you very much. At this time, the next item of business is to swear in two new commissioners, Commissioner Mello, Commissioner McGinnis, as well as three commissioners who have been reappointed, and that's Commissioner Wolford, Commissioner Kindig, and Commissioner Koppel. So for this, I'm going to step down to the podium here so I can address you. If you would all please rise.
If you gentlemen need it, there is a script.
Okay, if you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of Nebraska.
And the Constitution of the State of Nebraska.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will take this obligation freely and without mental reservation.
I will take this obligation freely and without any reservation.
Or for the purpose of evasion.
Or for the purpose of evasion.
Without any mental reservation or for the purpose of evasion.
Without even a reservation or the purpose of evasion.
And that I will faithfully and impartially.
And I will faithfully and impartially.
Perform the duties of the office of State Highway Commissioner.
Perform the duties of the office of State Highway Commissioner.
According to the law and to the best of my ability.
according to the law and the best of my ability.
And I do further swear that I do not advocate,
And I do further swear that I do not advocate,
nor am I a member of any political party or organization
nor am I a member of any political party or organization
that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States
that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States
or this state by force or violence.
or this state by force or violence.
And during such time that I am in this position,
And that during the time that I am in this position,
I will not advocate or become a member
I will not advocate or become a member
of any political party or organization
of any political party or organization
that advocates the overthrow of the government
that advocates the overthrow of the government
of the United States or this state
of the United States or the state
by force or violence.
by force or violence.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. Congratulations, gentlemen. Now we've reached the time on the agenda where we're open for public comment. Again, as I stated before, if you would come up to the podium, identify yourself, say and spell your first and last names, and identify an organization if you're here representing an organization. So with that, the podium is now yours.
Well, I'm not gonna let the opportunity go since you came here and you asked. First off, thanks for Stephen Ramus, STEVENRAMES, the city engineer and public works director for Norfolk. Thank you again for bringing this to Norfolk, and for making it an evening meeting to fit the needs of the citizens of the area of Northeast Nebraska. It's always nice to have the officials present in the communities. Again, thank you. Just a couple comments. I'll start off with the major snow event that Kevin mentioned. I happen to live in Wayne and commute over. I madly, as I was watching, was it 511? Is that where you go to watch all the closures on the internet? And somewhere around 2:00 in the afternoon, things looked pretty good, and people kept saying, "You better get out of here." And somewhere around 5:00, there was one possible route back to Wayne. And so I madly called, or I think I texted Kevin and said, "If you're closing that, let me know, so I don't waste my time." But it was quite an effort by the Department of Transportation, at least on the route I use, Highway 35 back and forth. That was quite the significant drifts across there. Took a lot of effort just to get one lane open, let alone 2 lanes open. But it's a good thing we don't get those events on a regular basis. Materials research. A couple of things regarding materials research is cement. I believe, I'm sure, I don't know if you guys are aware, I'm sure you are, a lot going on in the world of cement. I think I read recently that cement may be one of the largest producers of CO2 in the world. And because of that, there's a lot of desire to change our cement, the way it's manufactured, to lower that energy production. I think we're all concerned about what that's going to do to the product we use it for, concrete, longevity of that and so forth. And we certainly as a community look to the Department of Transportation for that research. We follow along with what their folks are doing there. I think they do a fantastic job for the state and for the municipalities that follow that research. The second one on the research side is aggregate. I have worked in probably 5 different states for 5 DOTs through my career. And prior to coming, when I came to Nebraska, it seemed like the sand to coarse aggregate mix was upside down. We have 70%, I think, or so in standard state mixes of fine aggregate and 30% coarse. I understand Omaha is looking at a mix that's 55% coarse, I think 45% sand. I believe the DOT is currently researching that. I think that's a great move, and I look forward to that. I know since Omaha had accepted that, we were going to try that on a couple areas here this year on some work. I think it's going to work great. I actually think it's going to help where we see a lot of delamination, breakage of our curve due to compression strength going on after a project. I think that coarse aggregate, that heavier coarse aggregate mix is going to really help that compressive strength. That's what I'm thinking right now. So looking forward to that, and certainly looking forward to you guys adopting that. Finally, I'll end with the importance of the municipal partnership where there are state highways that bisect our communities. It's, you know, it takes communication between that local district director and the cities within his region, and I enjoy that relationship with Kevin. We are working hard to craft a long-term vision for improving and maintaining those state highways in a better condition, I would say, than I think they've been maintained historically. For us, that has meant getting the right staff in place, training staff, changing the equipment that we have available to us. Most recently, between I think Kevin and Tim, my maintenance department has been engaged in some conversations there, and the equipment's been made available to us. Again, I just can't stress the importance of that partnership, both in the maintenance of those systems and as we would engage in planning for any future design or major design upgrades to those systems. And again, it's really Kevin and I that are the ones that are required to maintain that relationship. And again, it's so important for us, and just encourage you to keep that in place as we go forward, and certainly don't weaken that. If anything, strengthen that. Those are my comments. Any questions for me?
No questions, but I want to comment on what you did say about the aggregate and cement piece. I think having a long-standing tradition of having a deputy director of operations with M&R background is important to the organization as we continue to see the evolution of some of these different opportunities that we have, kind of reduction with cement. So it's very much on our radar, and we have some good practices that Nick's working on right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Anyone else?
Andy Colvin, ANDYCOLVIN. I am the Norfolk City Administrator, and I don't want to let Steve upstage me here for talking, but I want to thank you as well on behalf of the city mayor and members of the city council here in Norfolk for having the meeting here and listening to Norfolk and the region. And I want to echo Steve's comments on the importance of the partnerships and that appreciation that we got. And I want to reinforce the value that I think this city has taken on in the last several years to prioritize street construction, street maintenance of our own roads here in Norfolk. The city council has allocated a lot of money towards improving our streets, both in terms of maintenance, as Steve mentioned, training of our staff, and trying to do a lot more with less, which I think is the ultimate goal that we all want to do for the taxpayers. So I want to echo that. And also just kind of a side note, I really enjoy seeing the construction progress on 275 from West Point on. I've been making several trips to Omaha here recently, and it's really interesting and fascinating to see all that come together. And when I would drive by it initially, thinking, how in the world is this bypass going to work, and how's it all going to come together? And then as you see that happen, it's really amazing to me. So I wanted to thank you for that, and I'm really excited to see the continued progress and construction for the rest of that corridor. I think it's very important for our whole region, Northeast Nebraska as a whole. We're all really excited here for that, and really glad that you've all prioritized that as a project here. So thank you again.
Thank you, Andy.
Hey, everybody. My name is Don Dubas with Stanton County Public Power District. And we have a couple of projects going on. Highway 57 going north of town is being started this summer, I believe, and Highway 275. We have power lines on both of those. I think both projects are great and need to be done. I am concerned with the time frame that we have to relocate our facilities due to lead times on material. We have conductor that's out 64 weeks. So that's kind of an issue for us. Highway 57 doesn't require us to move the whole line, but instead of moving a pole here and there, we would have liked to rebuild the whole line permanently instead of doing temporary structure. But the time frame didn't allow us to do that. So that's kind of a main concern for especially small power districts like Stanton County Public Power. We don't have a lot of inventory. We have twice as much as we used to before COVID. But that is a concern because by the time we hire an engineer, send it out for letting award the bid, they secure the material. Typically, a contractor does, but in this case, we are actually ordering some of the material for them. And we only have one lined up yet, but we know we're going to do this, so we're doing stuff that we don't typically do as far as material. And that's a huge expense on us, a year in advance of the actual project going through. So just a little bit more notice if that's possible. I don't know how the whole process works. It's just kind of my comment.
Thank you. Thank you, Don. Kevin, did you have a response to that?
I do want to let you know that I have been advocating for you. I'm a customer of yours, by the way, so that's one of the reasons. I do want you to know that I'm advocating for you. We have been in discussions with our utilities groups, trying to get those plans as quick as we can. And I do think that it's possibly next week that we're going to be visiting on the 57. So, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you knew that I was in your door.
Thank you, Kevin. Anyone else? Shannon, is there anyone on the online with us?
One moment. There are, but there are no comments online.
Okay, are there any letters for the record?
There are none.
Since there are none, we've come to the end of our agenda. I guess I would ask at this time if there are any other comments from any of the other commissioners. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I do have a comment. And I know everybody's probably aware, but this last snow event, and my district is 4, so I-80 stretches from York all the way to Kearney. And I navigated some of those roads, so I mean, closing the highway was definitely the right thing to do and so forth. But my heart goes out to those truckers right there in Kearney. We don't even have a truck stop in Kearney. On the east entrance, it's called the Kearney Expressway. There was probably at least 75 to 100 trucks on both sides of the road setting. And these poor guys were at least 4 or 5 miles from any kind of a place to get any refreshment and so on and so forth. And I know most of them have trucks that were equipped, but they sat there for over 2 days. And, you know, and I know from probably York all the way to North Platte and beyond, each interchange had kind of the same scenario. So many trucks and no place for them to go. And I guess the only thing I'm saying is, I wish there was a way, you know, we could at least tell them how much we appreciate what they do for us, because these truckers, they bring a lot of revenue to the state of Nebraska. And some of them live here, but a lot of them are just going through, and they had to go star crazy sitting in their truck for over 48 hours. And I just really felt for them. So anyway, that's all I really wanted to say.
It's definitely a shared sentiment. I think the Kearney East Bypass was the worst location we had for this storm. And some of that was due to, we typically have some truck parking in around the Lexington area. That wasn't the case this time. We had a decrease in the number of slots that were available there. And obviously there's a ripple effect as you start to close the interstate. But truck parking is something that we actively are looking at and have been looking at and trying to tackle to understand what's the right approach. Is it on the commercial side? Is it on the state side? And so we continue to work through that. I did have a rather long conversation with the Nebraska Trucking Association and made sure that we sent our appreciation out to the carriers so that they can move it to their drivers, and our appreciation for their emotions. So pretty much share the sentiment.
Thank you.
Coordination with our emergency management people across the state also is something that has helped. I know that they've taken a lot more active role, and at least in District 6 in North Platte in that area, of trying to find places to get those trucks a place to park where they're near some kind of facilities too. So I've seen that happen as well.
Mr. Chairman, it's just an item I want to highlight from Director Kramer's comments earlier, and to some extent with Commissioner Koppel's great city here in North Fork and city administrators comments earlier, and with a friend out in the audience, with Senator Gover in attendance. Communities like North Fork clearly have done a lot of great work with their local city infrastructure, as you've heard, in terms of city streets. And but something Director Kramer mentioned earlier, which is a real unique opportunity that NDOT is prioritized with recent state funding as part of the state budget, is the creation, as she mentioned, an infrastructure hub, which is trying to help provide an opportunity for more municipalities across the state as well as counties to be able to draw down more federal funding for our local governments for infrastructure opportunities and competitive grant funding. So it is a real testament, I think, to Director Kramer's leadership and the department's leadership to really identify a lot of federal funding opportunities for cities like North Fork and counties like Madison County, as well as a variety of other communities across the state to take advantage of this federal funding. And so it really was something I wanted to highlight again, to thank you for your leadership on that, Director, as well as the governors for the sense of putting that money in the budget. Senator Dover as well, being a member of the Appropriations Committee, for prioritizing that in the state budget. Just want to thank you for acknowledging that great leadership and work from the department. So thank you. I can say one thing that you brought up, I didn't just need to say. So I just want to say thank you, Director Kramer, for working with me. A fantastic job. And there is an interim study that I turned in, and we're looking at some of back to this 2009 study with that Fisher did, and was able to get funding put through with BNA, of course, with Mike Flood.
And so hopefully, I mean, we obviously have talked to Mike Mosier too, but hopefully we'll be doing an interim study and hopefully with the help of the DOT, we'll be able to have some hearings across the state and we'll be looking at, current funding sources. Again, I think they identified in the 2009 study, it's like 31 different types of funding. Of course, they decided not to use any of them, but we need to get across this 8 list of what people think. And hopefully we're looking at other states to see what they're doing, but I think one of the best jobs of whether it's the state or federal government really is roads, a big responsibility. I think everyone really enjoys the roads. I think you're doing a fantastic job. So hopefully the inter study will have one. I mean, obviously there's a number of inter studies that get put in. I have quite a few co-sponsors for it. And I think we'll look forward to working with the Department of Transportation with that study across the state of Nebraska. Thank you.
Quickly on the interim study, this gives us the opportunity to address not just the funding source, but also the financing piece. So previously in LR 152, that was the 2009 study that Bill Nebraska was born out of. It identified funding, but didn't really get into anything outside of looking at the benefits of bonding. So this will introduce some of the other financing tools that are out there within the country that are being utilized in other DOTs. And so we're excited about examining both the funding side as well as the financing side and bringing opportunities and options to the state.
Thank you, Director, and thank you, Senator, for coming forward with that. I think in wrapping up here this evening, then we ought to thank the city of Norfolk for allowing us to meet in their very nice facility here. I think it's been a great place to have a meeting, and Shannon, thank you for getting everything arranged and set up for us. And if there is no other business to be brought in front of the commission, we will stand adjourned.